my children grew up knowing that I had a traumahood instead of a childhood. They knew that I was a child who was abused. They knew I ended up on the streets at 13. They knew that I came from a really horrific background in age appropriate ways. Like, in other words, they didn't have detail, and they didn't have a feeling that they needed to protect their mama or make me feel better or be responsible for my emotions or anything like that. They just knew things because they asked questions, because I was no contact with my narcissistic family system, my mother's side of the family. So things would come up in conversation. I also went through a lot of therapy for about 2.5 to 3 years while I was a parent. And that was tough. They saw their mother, going through some things. And most of it I did shelter them from, because what I was going through was not their problem. However, with all of that being said, there are decisions I made. There's times that I wasn't present the way that I wish I had been. There were times I feel like I was definitely selfish as a parent, where I was making decisions that were self-sabotaging, and my children were along for that ride. So there were things that I did that were completely my fault. No matter where it came from, they were completely my fault and my responsibility, because as a mom, it was my job to show up for them first and foremost and prioritize their needs over anything that was going on in my life. That's how I look at it. When we came to the point where my children wanted to have conversations about those things, it was, I am so sorry, because I was, and because I am. I wish I had done things differently. I know that that impacted you negatively. I can see how that impacted you. I am so sorry that I put you through that. Whatever it was in the conversation that needed an apology and validation and deserved it, which was everything in my mind. Maybe somebody else would look at it differently, but I say it was everything, because how they felt about my actions is what counted to me more than what I thought about what I meant through my actions. Sometimes we can say something and we don't mean it that way. I don't care about that part. I cared about where it landed on them. The end result. They learned that they could trust me to take full responsibility for my actions. They learned that their feelings mattered to me, which they knew throughout their childhood. They learned that I would respect their feelings and their boundaries, and that built a lot of trust in our relationship to have the hard conversations and work through things. And then they were the ones who came back to me later on and said, Mom, I look at all you've been through, and I think it's amazing that you became the mom you did. So there you go.